Good evening, people. Welcome back to my channel. I am UndeadSick83, your governor of movie reviews. And since it's Saturday, it's time to do another video and another review for you guys. And today I picked a movie that is very special to me personally. I love this film, and I recently got it from Imprint Films. So I rewatched it, I've made notes, and I can't wait to talk about this old classic of mine. I mean, that's how I feel anyway. I can't wait to talk about this old classic. It's a movie that I watched in my youth, and, you know, it's a really, really good movie. So, without further ado, I'm going to announce the title. Tonight, I'm going to talk about Ken Russell's Whore. This is no bedtime story. But seriously, Ken Russell's Whore. Yes. Again, I'm very excited to share my thoughts on this movie with you guys. So sit back, and I hope you will enjoy. All right. So, this is a movie that is directed by Ken Russell, of course. Ken Russell directed a lot of schlock in the 80s and 90s. He made The Lair of the White Worm, for example, a vampire film that isn't very received very well. I mean, it's not the best vampire movie out there, so it's a bit hated among vampire fans. But he made that movie. He made some other movies as well. And in 1991, he directed Whore. And basically what happened is that he got the idea for Whore when he read a play, a book. Because there is a play called Bondage, which is written by David Hines, who is a British and English writer. And basically, David Hines wrote this play and book after he talked to a local prostitute while he was a London taxi driver. And that's where he got the idea for the play and the book. To make that, because he had this, big interview and talk with a prostitute in London that he was, driving somewhere in the car, and that's where he got the idea for this whole story. And then Ken Russell he read that, and he found that so intriguing. He found that to be such an intriguing and interesting story that he decided, I have to make a movie about this. I have to direct a movie about this. And that's how Whore came to be. Because Ken Russell wrote the play and the book. So just a little background information there. So let's start with the story. What is Whore about? And the story for Whore is actually pretty simplistic, actually. It's a very simplistic film in its story anyway. Because this movie is basically about the daily life of a Los Angeles prostitute. It's about a prostitute called Liz, and we follow her in her daily life. It's almost sort of like a fake documentary about this Los Angeles prostitute. And throughout the film, we see her daily routine, how she picks up clients, some very nasty, negative things about her profession, her job. So it's a character study. it's a character study, and it's almost like a documentary about a Los Angeles prostitute. So that's what the story is. So, as I said before, I love this film. So why do I think Whore is such a great movie? Well, first of all, it's the acting. The acting is superb in this film, especially from Theresa Russell. Theresa Russell plays Liz, of course, the main character. And Liz is a very strong and level-headed, but secretly a very vulnerable Los Angeles prostitute. And the way that Theresa Russell portrays that character, and just the way that she is addressing the lines, and just the way that she is telling her story to the camera and to the audience, because a lot of the times in this film, Liz breaks the fourth wall, and she actually is talking to us, the audience. She's talking to us. She's telling her story to us. So, and just the way that Theresa Russell, navigates that whole thing and the whole role, which is it's a pretty explicit role, to be honest. So, it takes a lot of, bold and brave acting to land that kind of role and make it convincing to the audience. But Theresa Russell does a phenomenal job as Liz. So amazing. And then, of course, there is her counterpart called Benjamin Mouton, who plays Blake. And Blake he's the narcissistic, violent, but very charming pimp that Liz is kind of working for. She's kind of on his payroll. And Blake is a nasty character. He's a really nasty character, He threatens people with broken bottles, and he beats people up, and he has one of the foulest mouths ever. The words that are coming out of his mouth is just, he is a nasty, sleazy character. But it works very, very well. And just the way that he intimidates and sometimes brutalizes Liz's character, as well as his other prostitutes, it's very convincing, and it's very real, because this is what this is what pimps and lover boys are like in real life as well. That's what they are. That's what they are like. So, but he does a fantastic job as well. There are some other great performances in this one. So yeah, overall the acting is fantastic. The acting is great. The second thing I want to talk about is the cinematography. The cinematography. This film is shot beautifully. The hot and sleazy streets of, how do I say this? The hot and sleazy, back streets of Los Angeles, they really lend themselves perfectly for this story, for this type of story. It's just, it looks filthy, it's hot, but also it's very sleazy. There's a lot of graffiti and stuff, so it lends itself perfectly for the setting of this story. Just the whole site of the Los Angeles, ghetto and stuff, stuff like that. It works perfectly for this film. It sets the perfect tone for the location in which this story is about, where the story is taking place. And it's also the fact that Liz, the main character, it's also the fact that Liz is the POV in this story. Liz is the POV in this story. As she strolls down the streets, and it just, given that the movie is looked at from her perspective, we are kind of looking through her eyes the whole movie. Even though we see her characters, we are prospectors. We are prospectors in this film, and we view this film through the eyes of Liz because she is the POV. And because the movie does that, the streets make you feel small and almost pathetic in a way. It makes you feel very small and insignificant, which is very important for this film. Because in retrospect, the character of Liz is very small and insignificant. At least that's how she feels anyway. So again, the cinematography works very, very well for this film. Let's talk about the next topic. The last positive thing I want to talk about is the emotional drama in this film. This movie is gritty. It is nasty. It is depressing. And sometimes it's sad. And given that the movie takes that route, given that the movie has that particular tone, there are some real emotional moments in this movie. Specifically with Liz, surrounding Liz. There are two scenes with Liz that I want to mention, okay? And the first one is a scene where Liz is in a movie theater and she is talking to one of her new friends. She made a new friend who is a black guy, a black person. But anyway, Liz is in a movie theater. She talks to her new friend, who is called Rasta. She talks to Rasta, and she's talking about the fact that she just wants to have a normal life. She just wants to feel like a normal human being. She wants to be loved and respected, and she wants to, above all, she wants to be seen. She wants to be seen, not as an object or a piece of meat or something. She wants to be acknowledged as a human of society. And it's a very heartbreaking and emotional scene that makes you tear up. It really does, because it's a really touching scene that is very sad. The second scene that I want to talk about is also with Liz, and there is a scene where Liz is talking into the camera. So she's talking to the audience right now, okay? So she's translating what she's saying to the audience on this, okay? So basically, she's talking into the camera to the audience, and what happens is she is basically asking herself, and in a way she is asking us, if people ever see her for something other, except a hot body or a piece of meat or an object. She wonders and questions whether or not someday people can look at her in a different way and actually see her as a human being in society, as a worthy person. See, that's what she's asking. Like, can someone someday look at me like a real person and acknowledge me? And she's even saying, you know, probably not. She's saying probably not, but that's what she is wishing for. That's what she is wishing for, and she is asking herself and the audience if the day will ever come when she will be able to feel that way. And again, it's a very strong and emotional scene that is very, very sad, because it's all about who you are inside, right? It's not about looks. It's not about looks or the way you walk, or, you know, what kind of, you know, hot I won't go into that, but no matter how, you know, sexy you are, it's that's all, you know, that's all confetti. You know, the rest is confetti, like Daniela Clayton would say in Haunting of Hill House. It's all confetti. It's what's in here, right? And that's what that scene is about. And I think it's a very powerful scene. It's very powerful. So those were my positives for the film. But is this film perfect? Does this movie have any negatives? Yes, of course there are. I mean, every movie has issues. Every movie has little things, big things that, you know, are subjective and make people, you know, disagree on things. And just as this movie isn't perfect. I have some issues with it. And I boiled it down to 2 issues, okay? So let's dive into the negatives. Alright, so let's discuss the negatives, the issues that I have for this film. As there is a big rainstorm outside. Holy crap. It's raining like crazy, guys. It's raining like crazy. It's okay. Anyway, luckily I'm inside. So, but again, let's talk about the negatives and some issues I have with this film. Alright, the first one is the humor. Because this movie is using comedy in certain scenes, and with any other movie that would be fine, that would be great. But for a movie that's trying to give us a story that is so sad, you know, if you're trying to give us a story about a very depressing and serious topic, the comedy they use in this film is distracting, and it feels off. It feels off, and it's distracting from the seriousness that you try to have with this film. I mean, this movie is trying to tell a very depressing and serious story about a very, you know, interesting topic that people need to talk about a lot more, I feel like. But even though that's, you know, the groundwork for this film, the comedy they use in this is just, it feels weird, and it's distracting from the original narrative, and it feels off. That's the best I can say. It feels off. So that's my first real negative with this film, is that the humor is unnecessary and feels out of place with the kind of story that they are trying to tell here, okay? So moving on to the second negative and my last negative. Alright. The second negative that I have, my second issue, is really nobody's fault. It's just the way that people are going to perceive this. Because my second negative is the film itself. Now, a lot of people are going to say, but Undead Sick, you just said you love this movie. I do. I love this movie. I think it's great. But let me explain, okay, what I mean by that. Let me explain what I mean by, the second negative is the film itself, okay? Let me explain that. Because this movie is not for everyone. It's as simple as that. This movie is not for everyone. It's a sad, depressing, and unsettling story about a topic and a profession that most people wrongly... Here's the thing. Most people wrongly categorize, the life of a prostitute as being perfect and glamorous. And nothing could be further from the truth. If you watch this movie, if you watch horror, nothing could be further from the truth. It's not. It's everything but glamorous and perfect. Look, let's be real here, people. And oh my God, he's getting serious now. Yeah, I am. Let's be real, people. I mean, the life of a prostitute is hard as F. It's rough. It is nasty. It is unglorious. It's not charming. It's nasty. It's sleazy. It's sad. It's brutal. There is nothing romantic or perfect about this. Not one single bit. And, this movie really drives home how hard the life of a prostitute is. And, I think very often we forget this, that, the way that we are, I don't want to say abuse, because that might be a bit nasty, but I don't want to say abuse, but the way that we perceive prostitutes, right, just as sex objects, right? It's very eye-opening. This movie is very eye-opening, and for everyone who still thinks that, being a prostitute is all glitter and glamour and stuff like that, I want you to read this right here. If you're afraid to say it, just see it. There you go. Watch this movie Whore, because it will make you change your mind about this whole thing. It's anything but perfect, and it's anything but romantic. And look, let's be honest here. I've been guilty of this as well. I have. Look, when I was suffering from depression back in my youth, in my childhood, I visited a prostitute, and I paid for sex. I went to a prostitute, and I paid money to have sex with someone who is not my girlfriend, or wasn't my wife, or a friend, or whatever. Just this complete stranger. That was nothing more than just an object. Not that I looked at it that way. I mean, I certainly didn't look at it that way, right? I just wanted some intimacy, You know, I just wanted to feel good. You know, I just wanted one moment to feel where I was appreciated and loved, right? So that's why I did it. So not please don't try to make me out as some kind of, you know, pervert or whatever. I'm not. Trust me. You know, Scouts honor here. I'm not. But you know, like I said, I'm not proud of it. But again, I too have visited a prostitute in my childhood, and I used services, so to speak, and this movie is just going back to the movie. And again, please don't make me out to be a pervert. You know, I just, you know, I'm not. Again, I'm not. I just, it was one of those moments. You know, it was one of those moments that I'm not proud of. I'm far from proud of that. But you know, it is what it is. Yeah, going back to the movie. But that's the last negative of this film that I have. The film itself, it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone because it's a rough watch. It is it's really driving home the point of you know, just opening your eyes about what the life of a prostitute actually is, and it's not good. It's not good. It's not beautiful. It's not romantic. So just, you know, watch this movie. Which brings me to, in closing, my final thoughts on whore. So how do I feel about Ken Russell's Whore? I think this is a remarkable film. I really do. I think this is a remarkable film. I have some small issues with it, like I just mentioned, you know. But overall, I think this is a very strong movie that is very underrated, and this movie got a very bad rap back in the day when it was released in 1991. It got very bad reviews. You know, they said it was like romanticizing the life of a prostitute and all of that stuff. It doesn't. It really doesn't. And I think, despite of the issues I have with it, I think this is a very powerful, strong film about a very serious and interesting topic that a lot more people need to talk about. And in that aspect, it really drives the point home. So anyone who is a movie fan, watch this. Maybe it's on Netflix as well, or you can find it somewhere else. But if you are a movie fan, you have to watch this. So watch this. If you are a collector and you collect movies like I do, this movie deserves to be in your collection, because this is a very strong romantic drama about something not romantic. That's the best way. I don't even know how to describe this film. That's really weird. I don't even know how to describe this film. It's very weird. But anyway, if you are a collector, you have to have this in your collection. This is from Imprint, as you can see right here. So, again, if you are a movie fan, watch it. If you are a collector, you have to own Ken Russell's Whore, because this is a pretty remarkable film. So, in terms of my rating, how am I going to rate Ken Russell's Whore? I'm going to rate Ken Russell's Whore 3 stars out of 5. It's a pretty great film that deserves a lot more recognition and appreciation than it actually gets. So there you have it. That's my rating for Ken Russell's Whore. 3 stars out of 5. So there we go. But let me know in the comment section down below, what did you think? Have you seen Ken Russell's Whore? Have you not seen it? If you did see it, did you like it as much as me? Or maybe you hated it or something. If you did hate it, tell me why. We can discuss and debate. Do you agree with my points? Do you disagree? Again, if you disagree, tell me why. We can discuss and debate. Do you have any movies or TV shows that you want to recommend to me for me to watch and review? Let me know in the comment section down below. I want to know your thoughts, opinions, theories, ideas, as always. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll be back with another video as soon as possible, of course. Stay safe and healthy as always. Have a good weekend, and I see you guys. Bye.